Chosen one. You are not here by accident. Heaven has aligned this exact moment with divine precision. The Spirit has drawn you because you are standing at the edge of a supernatural financial breakthrough, a divine wealth transfer prepared with your name on it. Anointed one, the days ahead are crucial, and what God is about to release will exceed everything you've prayed for, hoped for, and quietly carried in your heart. Scripture says, "Behold, I am doing a new thing," and that new thing is already unfolding around you. Open your spirit. This is a holy moment. Receive what heaven is releasing. Chosen one, listen carefully. What is unfolding around you is not random. Heaven has been shifting things behind the scenes long before you even sensed the change. And now that change is touching the edges of your life. You can feel it in your spirit, like a quiet pressure, a holy stirring, a signal that something is about to break open. You're not imagining it. You're not overthinking it. You're being awakened. For months, maybe even years, you've carried dreams that felt too heavy, too delayed, too far beyond what your current reality could support. But, chosen one, those dreams were never idle. They were incubating. And now the spiritual atmosphere around you is tightening because the moment of emergence is drawing near. Heaven is aligning timelines, resources, and people in ways you couldn't orchestrate, even if you tried. This is a divine recalibration, a heavenly reset that touches everything connected to your destiny. And I need you to hear this with reverence. You're not just approaching a breakthrough. You're approaching a divine transfer, one that carries weight, one that carries purpose, one that carries the fingerprints of God Himself. Anointed one. There's a reason you've been feeling more sensitive lately. A reason you're noticing signs, patterns, numbers, dreams, or unusual clarity in your spirit. It's because the old cycle has finished its assignment, and heaven is preparing to usher you into a realm you've never walked in before, a realm defined by supernatural timing and accelerated favor. I've lived through this myself. I know what it feels like. There was a season when everything around me looked still, barren, even disappointing. I prayed and felt nothing. I worked but saw little fruit. I believed but wrestled with doubt. And just when I thought the silence meant God was distant, I realized the silence was instruction. Heaven wasn't ignoring me. Heaven was aligning me. And one day, completely out of nowhere, doors began opening that I didn't even knock on. Opportunities found me. Resources I didn't ask for flowed into my life. People I never met began speaking my name in rooms I'd never entered. What looked like sudden blessing was actually long preparation colliding with divine timing. That same supernatural pattern is what you are stepping into now. Chosen one. You must understand something. When heaven accelerates, it does not warn the natural world first. Things shift in the invisible realm long before your physical circumstances catch up. And when those changes begin to manifest, it often looks like chaos, pressure, or disruption. But do not be deceived by appearance. Many times, spiritual promotion comes wrapped in earthly discomfort. Some of you have been losing things, losing friendships, losing routines, losing energy for old conversations or old environments. That's not failure, that's separation. Heaven is pruning you away from what can't follow you into your next season. The version of you that is emerging requires new surroundings, new habits, new responsibility, new strength. And, yes, new provision. Anointed one, you are stepping into a financial shift, not because you chased money, but because you chased God. Heaven does not reward greed, but heaven absolutely rewards stewardship, obedience, and alignment. The kind of transfer coming to you is not meant to inflate your ego. It is meant to expand your capacity. It is meant to position you. It is meant to restore years that were lost, stolen, or devoured. Think about where you've been. Think about the seasons you survived. Think about the prayers you prayed when no one else heard you. Think about the nights you held yourself together because you had no one else to lean on. Those weren't wasted moments. Those were seeds. And heaven never forgets a seed. Chosen one. Heaven saw when you gave even when you didn't have enough. Heaven saw when you forgave what others would have avenged. Heaven saw when you stayed loyal to people who would never admit how deeply you blessed them. Heaven saw when you obeyed the quiet instruction of the Spirit, the instruction that made no sense to anyone but God. And now heaven is responding. What's coming to you is not compensation, it's multiplication. The pressure you feel right now, it's confirmation. The discomfort, confirmation. The sudden awareness that you cannot live like you used to, confirmation. A divine window has opened and you can feel the pull. Chosen one, this is the moment to prepare your spirit, strengthen your posture and steady your heart. Something is arriving, something holy, something weighty, something that will echo through your family, your household, your legacy. And what comes next will require readiness. Chosen one, let's go deeper, because what heaven is doing in your life right now is too important to rush through. You are standing in a prophetic moment, a threshold between what was and what will be. And the weight you feel in your spirit, the pressure, the anticipation, the strange quietness in your soul is evidence that heaven is touching the timeline of your life. Anointed one, I want you to think about something. Every major transformation in Scripture, every supernatural shift in someone's life was marked by a moment where God said, prepare yourself. Not panic, not strive, prepare. And that is exactly where you are right now. You're not waiting for God to move. God is waiting for you to align. Your spirit already senses this. That's why old habits suddenly feel heavy. That's why old conversations drain you. That's why you can't tolerate low vibration environments anymore. Your spirit refuses to settle where your destiny is no longer located. Chosen one, heaven is calling you upward. And let me tell you a personal truth. There was a time when I felt stuck spiritually, mentally, financially. No movement, no direction. Just this low-grade spiritual tension in the back of my soul, like something was shifting but I couldn't name it. I tried to go back to old environments, old mindsets, old relationships. But every time I did, the discomfort grew stronger. It wasn't depression, it wasn't confusion, it was displacement. Heaven was relocating me spiritually before relocating me physically. And that's what you're experiencing right now. Your spirit knows there is more. Your spirit knows there is elevation coming. Your spirit knows there is a divine assignment waiting for you that requires a different version of you. And heaven is not going to allow you to stay where you no longer belong. Anointed one, the coming days are crucial because the alignment happening around you is extremely delicate. Heaven is arranging conversations you have not heard yet, orchestrating meetings with people who have not entered your life yet, positioning resources that have not reached your hands yet. You are in a prophetic countdown. And just like a plane preparing for takeoff, there is turbulence before you lift. Not because you're in danger, but because you're accelerating. Some of you feel that turbulence right now. Finances shifting, friendships shifting, emotions shifting, your appetite for certain environments disappearing, your desire for deeper spiritual intimacy increasing. These are all signs of spiritual acceleration. Chosen one, Heaven is not just preparing a breakthrough for you, heaven is preparing you for the breakthrough. There's a difference. Anyone can receive a blessing, but only a prepared vessel can carry a divine assignment. Only a ready spirit can handle accelerated elevation. Only a stable heart can steward supernatural financial transfer. And the transfer coming to you is not small. This is not pocket change. This is not coincidence. This is not luck. This is not random money falling into your hands. This is strategic provision wealth, attached to purpose abundance, attached to responsibility resources, attached to kingdom assignment. And heaven is watching how you respond in this preparation phase. Anointed one. You're in a season where one act of obedience can shift the entire trajectory of your family for generations. One decision, one surrender, one step of faith. This is why the enemy has tried to distract you. This is why your mind has felt foggy. This is why you've been attacked emotionally. This is why discouragement has tried to sit on you, because the enemy knows something that he hopes you never understand. You are one obedient yes away from supernatural elevation. Chosen one. This is not just about your life. This is about your bloodline. This is about the stories your grandchildren will tell. This is about breaking patterns that have lived in your family for decades. This is about reversing financial cycles, emotional cycles, spiritual cycles. This is about shifting the very atmosphere of your home. That's why the pressure has been intense. You are not just rising, you are carrying others with you. And let me be transparent with you, when God is preparing you for stewardship, He will confront everything inside you that could sabotage the blessing. He will highlight the distractions you've tolerated. He will expose the attachments that no longer serve you. He will reorder your priorities. He will pull you away from people who cannot walk where you're going. Not to punish you, but to protect what He is about to place in your hands. Anointed one, if heaven gave you everything you prayed for a year ago, you might not have been prepared to carry it. But now, after everything you've survived, after everything you've endured, after every spiritual test you passed in silence, you are ready in a way you were not before. You've grown, you've matured, you've learned to discern, you've learned to wait, you've learned to release. You've learned to trust when nothing made sense, and heaven responds to growth. Chosen one, get ready. The alignment is almost complete. The release is near. The shift is already in motion, and your spirit knows it. Chosen one. When a person stands on the threshold of transformation, life often begins to rearrange itself in ways that feel both unsettling and undeniable. What you are experiencing now is not chaos, not coincidence, and certainly not emotional confusion. It is the unmistakable signature of divine alignment. You are walking through a pattern I have witnessed repeatedly in my own journey, and in the journey of every person. Heaven prepares for elevation. The inner world shifts first, and only afterward does the outer world reflect what has already changed within. This process is sacred. It does not announce itself loudly, nor does it seek your permission. Spiritual growth arrives quietly, like dawn breaking across the horizon, yet its effects become impossible to ignore. You have likely felt this recently, the sudden realization that old conversations drain you, that familiar environments no longer inspire you, that old habits no longer comfort you. These changes are not evidence of instability, they are evidence of maturity. They signify that your spirit has outgrown the limitations your past once imposed. When heaven prepares an individual for a higher assignment, the first transformation is always internal. Before new doors open, before resources arrive, before opportunities unfold, heaven expands the capacity of the soul. Your thinking shifts, Your perception sharpens. Your sensitivity to the spiritual realm increases. You begin to desire what elevates you, not what entertains you. And slowly you awaken to the truth that what once fit you now feels too small. This is not a loss, it is spiritual evolution. I have lived through this kind of divine restructuring myself. There were seasons when I felt as though everything was dissolving around me. Relationships faded, plans fell apart, opportunities that once seemed promising vanished without explanation. At the time, it all felt like failure. But eventually I understood that I was not being abandoned. I was being repositioned. What looked like endings were actually beginnings disguised as closure. Heaven removed what could not accompany me into my next season so I could rise without unnecessary weight. That is what is happening to you. Do not misinterpret heaven's preparation as punishment. The spiritual stretching you feel is not meant to break you, but to enlarge you. You are being prepared to hold something far greater than anything you have carried before. This next season of your life will require deeper wisdom, stronger character, and greater capacity, because what is coming is not simply a blessing, it is an assignment. The divine shift on your life right now carries generational implications. You're not only being elevated for your own sake, you are being elevated for the sake of those connected to you. Your obedience, your growth, your surrender will become the foundation upon which others rise. In many ways, you are the turning point of your lineage, the one chosen to break patterns, build new structures, and establish a legacy of spiritual strength and abundance. But with elevation comes responsibility. Heaven does not bless someone merely to make their life comfortable. Heaven blesses with the intention of stewardship, so that what is given multiplies in your hands. This is why your internal posture matters. A person who receives sudden blessing without inner readiness can easily lose it. But a person who has been refined, stretched and molded will not only receive, but sustain and multiply what heaven places before them. Chosen one. Perhaps this is why certain emotions have felt amplified lately. Perhaps this is why doubt has visited you. Perhaps this is why the enemy has tried to distract or discourage you. It is because you are at the point where one decision, one act of obedience, one surrender can alter the entire trajectory of your life. When destiny calls, opposition often rises not because you are weak, but because you are dangerous to the forces that benefited from your stagnation. Do not let this intimidate you. Let it confirm you. The coming days demand a heightened level of awareness and spiritual discipline. You must listen carefully to the voice of God. You must guard your atmosphere and your mind. You must resist the temptation to return to what heaven has already pulled you away from. You must be willing to honor the shift, even when others do not understand it. Because the truth is simple but profound, heaven has already chosen you. Heaven has already prepared your elevation. Heaven has already aligned the people, resources, and opportunities that will carry you into your next season. All that remains is for you to agree with what heaven has spoken. Chosen one, breathe deeply and steady your heart. What is coming is not small. What is coming is not temporary. What is coming is the manifestation of everything you have prayed for, cried for, fought for, and believed for in silence. Chosen one. When a divine shift draws near, life begins to reveal a different language, one spoken not with words, but with signs, timing, impressions, and inner promptings. You have been feeling this language in your spirit recently, even if you haven't been able to fully articulate it. It shows up as restlessness, as anticipation, as a quiet awareness that something in your life is assembling itself into alignment. The natural world may look unchanged, but your spirit knows better. It knows that heaven is working with precision. Anointed one. This is why so much around you has felt intense or unfamiliar. When heaven accelerates your timeline, your life temporarily enters a space where the old no longer fits, but the new has not yet fully arrived. It's a spiritual in-between, a sacred transition zone. And this zone is often misunderstood because it does not look like a breakthrough. It looks like pressure. It looks like disruption. It looks like endings and uncomfortable beginnings. But pressure is not punishment. Pressure is confirmation. It means something is being birthed. I know this intimately. There was a point in my journey where everything I depended on seemed to dry up at the same time. The people I thought would support me went silent. The resources I relied on became unstable, and the future I envisioned suddenly felt distant. I thought I was being abandoned. I thought heaven had forgotten me, but in hindsight, I realized something far more powerful. Heaven was not removing what I needed. Heaven was removing what I thought I needed. Growth requires separation. Elevation requires isolation. Transformation requires disruption. And destiny requires surrender. Chosen one. Heaven is not trying to make your life difficult. Heaven is clearing your path. The things being stripped away now are things that would have weighed you down in the next season. The people drifting away are the ones who cannot handle the version of you that is emerging. The opportunities that fell apart were never large enough to contain the magnitude of your calling. Sometimes what feels like loss is actually protection. Anointed one, you have been chosen to carry a mantle, one that requires clarity, purity, and strength. And in this sacred moment, heaven is conditioning your spirit. Your discernment is being sharpened, your faith is being reinforced, your spiritual senses are being awakened. You're beginning to see through situations that used to confuse you. You're beginning to recognize energy that doesn't match your purpose. You're beginning to feel the difference between what is aligned and what is merely familiar. This awareness is not accidental, it is preparation. Because in the coming days, divine opportunities will begin to present themselves with surprising speed. Heaven is preparing to release connections that carry destiny, not distraction. Ideas will begin to surface that hold the potential to shift your financial landscape. Conversations will unfold that lead to doors you could never have opened on your own. And the decisions you make in this season will shape the next decade of your life. That is why your internal environment matters so deeply right now. Chosen one. You cannot step into a divine season with a distracted spirit. You cannot hold a supernatural blessing with unhealed hands. You cannot carry elevation if you are still entangled in energies that drain you. Heaven is not just answering your prayers, it is upgrading your capacity to sustain the answer. And this requires honesty. There are relationships you know you must release. There are habits you know you must outgrow. There are fears you know you must confront. There are versions of yourself you know you must bury. Not because you are broken, but because you are becoming the one heaven saw long before you saw yourself clearly. Becoming the one who can carry wealth without losing identity. Becoming the one who can hold authority without becoming arrogant. Becoming the one who can stand in spiritual responsibility without collapsing under the weight of expectations. I want to speak this to you with clarity. You are ready, even if you don't feel ready. Readiness in the kingdom is seldom a feeling, it is alignment. And you, chosen one, are aligned. Everything you have walked through, every disappointment, every pruning, every season of waiting has shaped you into a vessel capable of receiving what heaven has been storing for you. This is why you can no longer tolerate the things that once entertained you. This is why your spirit rejects environments that used to comfort you. This is why you feel a pull towards something higher, something deeper, something holier. It is because heaven has whispered now, Ozen. The next chapter of your life is not built from effort, it is built from obedience. Not from force, but from flow. Not from striving, but from surrender. Heaven is inviting you into partnership, not performance. And your yes, your simple, sincere yes, will activate things that would take others years to accomplish. Breathe. Ground yourself. Prepare your heart. What comes next is not just a blessing, it is a divine unveiling. It is the revelation of who you truly are. Chosen one, as we continue deeper into this divine unfolding, I want you to understand something that will anchor your spirit in the days ahead. Heaven is not simply preparing a blessing for you. Heaven is preparing a role for you. You're not stepping into a moment, you're stepping into a mantle. And this mantle carries weight, lineage, and purpose far greater than anything your past has ever suggested. For too long, you have measured yourself by who you were, by what you survived, and by what you lacked. But heaven has always measured you by who you were destined to become. The disconnect between those two perspectives is why so much of your life has felt like contradiction. You saw your weakness. Heaven saw your training. You saw your losses. Heaven saw pruning. You saw delays. Heaven saw incubation. And now the time of revelation is drawing near. Anointed One, a divine calling always reveals itself first through subtle inner transitions. Your spirit has been waking up. Your thoughts have been shifting. Your priorities no longer reflect who you used to be. You crave depth over distraction, purpose over pleasure, clarity over chaos. These are not random mood swings. These are spiritual signals indicating that your old identity is dissolving and your true identity is emerging. When heaven prepares someone for generational influence, it does not begin with external events. It begins with internal alignment. You've probably noticed that your heart is more sensitive to truth than it used to be. You feel conviction quicker. You sense red flags sooner. You can no longer ignore what drains you or pretend not to hear what your spirit has been trying to tell you. This is because your spiritual senses are activating. Heaven is teaching you to see beyond the surface. And let me share something from my own journey, something I had to learn the hard way. When God shifts you, He rarely gives you comfort first. He gives you clarity. Clarity about who you are becoming. Clarity about the environments you must step away from. Clarity about the relationships that can no longer follow you. Clarity about the future that is calling your name. Blessing comes later. Clarity comes first. It took me years to understand this, but once I did, everything changed. The seasons that felt like rejection were actually redirection. The doors that closed were actually protection. The disappointments I resented were actually divine appointments disguised as loss. And now, as you stand in this same sacred tension, I want you to embrace the truth that nothing in your life has been wasted. Not one tear, not one delay, not one betrayal, not one detour. Chosen one. There is always a refining period before a divine assignment. Before elevation comes separation. Before promotion comes purification. Before expansion comes examination. And that is where you are right now, the sacred in-between, where heaven inspects the heart, aligns the spirit, and strengthens the foundation, so the weight of destiny does not overwhelm you when it arrives. You may be wondering why you feel such intense spiritual awareness lately. It's because heaven is calling you into partnership, not passive belief, active agreement. You are being invited to step into alignment so the timing of God can meet the readiness of your soul. The blessing that is coming is too great to rest upon an unstable foundation. So, heaven is strengthening you internally before pouring out externally. Anointed One, I need you to recognize something powerful. You have already changed, even if your environment has not yet caught up. You are not the same person you were last year, not even the same person you were last month. Your insight is sharper, your discernment is deeper, your patience has matured, your spirit has grown stronger. And while others may not see this yet, heaven does. Heaven has taken note of your growth. And because heaven has taken note, the next phase of your life will require courage. Not dramatic courage, not loud courage. Quiet courage, the kind that decides to move forward even when no one cheers. The kind that chooses obedience over convenience. The kind that remains steady when everyone else is swayed by fear. The kind that rises when the flesh wants to shrink. This is the courage that activates destiny. There are going to be moments in the coming days that ask you to trust your spirit more than your sight. Opportunities that appear small but carry divine significance. Conversations that seem ordinary but unlock extraordinary doors. Interactions that feel random but are orchestrated by heaven. This is where your spiritual sensitivity matters most. Chosen One, you are not simply preparing for a blessing, you are preparing to become a blessing. You are being positioned to be a pillar in your family, a stabilizing force, a light in dark places, a carrier of favor, wisdom, and divine authority. The kind of person heaven trusts with influence because your heart has been shaped in humility. Take heart. The preparation is almost complete. The shift is near, and heaven is about to reveal why the journey had to unfold exactly the way it did. Chosen One, as we continue, I want to speak to the part of you that has been quietly wrestling the part that wonders if you are truly prepared, if you are truly capable, if you are truly worthy of what heaven is positioning you to receive. These questions have echoed in your mind, not because you lack faith, but because you can feel the magnitude of what is approaching. Your spirit recognizes the weight of the coming season, even if your mind has not fully grasped its scale. But hear me clearly, heaven does not invest in the unprepared. If heaven is moving, it is because you are ready. Many of the struggles you faced recently were not signs of weakness. They were signs of strengthening. The confusion you navigated taught you discernment. The loneliness you endured cultivated spiritual independence. The delays you survived built patience. The disappointments you walked through refined your expectations and purified your motives. And the battles you overcame shaped a level of spiritual authority that cannot be taught, it can only be earned through experience. Anointed One, what you felt as breaking was actually shaping. You see, destiny does not develop in comfort. Calling does not emerge in convenience. Purpose does not reveal itself in peaceful seasons. It reveals itself in pressure. It emerges in transition. It rises in moments where the old no longer fits, but the new has not yet arrived. This is exactly where you are standing on the sacred edge of becoming. And in this place, heaven is whispering instructions. You may notice your spirit telling you to slow down in some areas and accelerate in others. You may feel drawn to silence, reflection, or prayer more than usual. You may feel urged to let go of certain distractions, patterns, or connections that once felt harmless. This is not fear. This is alignment. When heaven prepares a chosen one, everything begins to shift into divine order. Your emotions find new rhythm, your thoughts become clearer, your intuition becomes louder, your priorities rearrange themselves. This is the spiritual recalibration you've been sensing. But I want to ground this truth in something personal. There was a season in my life where everything felt unsettled. My mind was foggy, my heart was stretched. I felt as though I was losing control of the direction of my own life. I later realized something profound. I wasn't losing control, I was releasing it. Heaven was taking the lead. Heaven was arranging what I could not fix. Heaven was guiding me where I could not navigate alone. And now you are living through a similar shift. Chosen. One heaven is taking the lead in your life, not to limit you, but to lift you. Not to confine you, but to carry you into places you were never meant to reach by human strength alone. This is why surrender feels so heavy, yet so necessary. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is giving God permission to do what you cannot. In the coming days, you will notice clarity replacing confusion, peace replacing anxiety, and confidence replacing hesitation. Your inner world is settling because heaven is settling your future. You will begin to understand choices you once questioned. You will see purpose in things that once felt painful. You will recognize divine fingerprints on moments you once labeled as mistakes. Anointed one, you are stepping into a season where nothing will be wasted. Not your pain, not your waiting, not your efforts, not your tears. Everything is converging, everything is aligning, everything is preparing for revelation. Take one deep breath. Let your spirit absorb this truth. You were chosen for this moment, and heaven is not finished with you. Chosen one. As we step further into this unfolding revelation, you must understand that the season you are approaching is unlike anything you have walked through before. The atmosphere around your life is thick with transition. You can feel it in the subtle shifts of your emotions, the unusual clarity in your thoughts, and the divine restlessness that refuses to let you settle for anything less than what heaven has ordained. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is spiritual positioning. Anointed One Heaven is preparing to elevate you in ways that will require more of your spirit than of your strength. This is why the old patterns feel too small. This is why the old comfort zones feel suffocating. This is why the familiar cycles feel foreign. When heaven rewrites your future, it begins by loosening your grip on the past. Everything that once defined you is being stripped of its authority, not to leave you empty, but to create space for the version of you that is rising. You may have noticed that you no longer think like you once did. Your perspective is expanding. Your heart is stretching. Your capacity for deeper conversations, deeper self-awareness, and deeper spiritual truth is growing. This is not something you forced. This is something heaven initiated. Your evolution is evidence that the hand of God has been on you even when you felt unseen. There comes a time in every chosen one's life when destiny refuses to remain silent. That time is now. You have walked through storms that others never knew about. You battled thoughts that tried to silence your potential. You faced nights where your tears could have drowned your faith, yet you kept going. And because you endured, heaven is entrusting you with a new level of influence, a new level of purpose, and a new level of responsibility. But hear me, elevation is never random. Heaven does nothing without intention. Chosen one, you have been prepared through pressure. Every disappointment you survived was training. Every betrayal you overcame was sharpening. Every closed door was redirection. Heaven has been molding you in secret, carving out the old, refining the new, shaping your character to withstand the magnitude of the blessing that is coming. And that blessing will not be subtle, it will not be small, it will not be quiet. It will be the kind of breakthrough that silences doubt, confuses the enemy, and surprises even you. But it will arrive at the exact moment when your spirit is finally aligned with your destiny. The coming days will require something sacred from you: spiritual vigilance. Heaven is going to speak in ways you are not used to. You may receive instructions through dreams, sudden inspiration, unexpected clarity, or divine interruption. Pay attention. The smallest shift may contain the greatest breakthrough. The quietest whisper may carry the loudest answer. The moment you least expect may be the moment heaven releases the next step you've been waiting for. Anointed One, you must be willing to follow the voice of God, even when the path does not look familiar. Elevation rarely comes with explanation. Heaven does not always reveal the full map, only the next step. But your obedience in that one step can activate a chain of miracles that change the entire direction of your life. I want to share something personal. There was a point when I felt stuck between who I was and who I was becoming. Nothing made sense. Everything felt uncertain. But during that time, God whispered something to my spirit that changed everything. You don't need to know the whole way. You only need to trust the next instruction. That one sentence carried me through seasons I didn't feel strong enough to navigate, and now I give that same truth to you, chosen. 1. Trust the next instruction. Trust the next step. Trust the next door heaven opens. You do not need to see the entire staircase to begin climbing. You are not walking into the unknown, you are walking into alignment. Every movement of heaven has been guiding you to this exact moment. Your heart may feel nervous, but your spirit is ready. Your mind may feel uncertain, but your destiny is sure. Your past may whisper, but heaven is speaking louder. Chosen One, hold steady. The next phase of your life will not resemble the last. You are stepping into a level of purpose, clarity, and abundance that will redefine who you believe yourself to be. Chosen One. As we arrive at this next sacred phase of your journey, I want you to pause for a moment and truly feel the atmosphere around your life. Something has shifted quietly, subtly, yet undeniably. You may not have words for it yet, but your spirit recognizes it. There is a new weight resting on you, not the weight of burden, but the weight of purpose, the weight of divine timing, the weight of being chosen for a moment that has been prepared long before you ever took your first breath. Anointed One, this is the season where heaven begins revealing why certain chapters had to unfold in such specific ways. You're beginning to see the threads that once felt random weave themselves into a larger, intentional pattern. What you thought was delay was actually protection. What felt like silence was preparation. What looked like endings were simply doorways disguised as closure. Heaven was not ignoring you, heaven was arranging you, and now the arrangement is nearly complete. You may feel a heightened sense of awareness, almost as if your spirit is leaning forward. That is not anxiety, that is spiritual readiness. Heaven is positioning you for unexpected encounters, divine opportunities, and supernatural clarity. The next connections that enter your life will not be accidental. They will be strategic. They will carry purpose. They will be aligned with your destiny, not your history. But Chosen One, understand this: with greater alignment comes greater responsibility. The choices you make in the coming days will carry more weight than before. The decisions you take lightly now may echo into the future. This is why heaven has been refining your discernment, sharpening your intuition, and strengthening your inner voice. You are being trained to hear God not just in silence, but in motion, in the middle of movement, transition, and elevation. I need you to embrace this truth deeply. You are capable of more than you realize. Your spirit is stronger than your doubt. Your purpose is greater than your fear. Your destiny is louder than your insecurity. You have been stretched, challenged, tested, and prepared not to break you, but to build you into someone who can carry influence without collapsing under its weight. Someone who can walk in authority without losing humility. Someone who can receive abundance without forgetting who provided it. Anointed One, the journey ahead will not require perfection, it will require presence. Show up for your purpose, show up for your growth, show up for the instructions heaven is whispering. You don't need every detail, you only need to stay aligned. God will handle the doors, God will handle the timing, God will handle the opportunities. Your role is to be ready, and readiness is not about having everything figured out. Readiness is about having a willing heart. Chosen One. The coming days are significant. They will reveal what has been hidden, unlock what has been delayed, and illuminate what has been unclear. Trust what you feel rising within you. Trust the divine momentum building around you. Trust that heaven has not brought you this far to leave you standing at the threshold. You are crossing over into clarity, into purpose, into abundance, into destiny. Chosen One, as we close this sacred moment, let your spirit rest in what heaven has spoken over you today. You are not stepping into an ordinary season. You are standing inside your Kairos moment, the exact divine timing where the supernatural intersects with your natural life. What has been shifting in your atmosphere is not imagination, it is confirmation. Heaven has already begun the transfer. The alignment has already started. The breakthrough is already moving toward you. Anointed One, may the peace of God settle over your home like a mantle. May clarity fill the places where confusion once lived. May strength rise in the areas where you felt weary. And may every generational chain that tried to hinder your purpose fall powerless at your feet. You have been chosen for such a time as this, and nothing can stop what heaven has ordained. As you step forward, walk with reverence, with boldness, and with expectation. Keep your heart aligned, your spirit open, and your steps anchored in faith. The hand of God is upon you, guiding you, expanding you, and ushering you into a blessing that will echo through your family for years to come. If this word stirred your spirit, Chosen One, feel free to declare it below. Speak it with boldness. I am stepping into my divine timing. And if you wish to stay connected to every prophetic release, you may subscribe or share only as your spirit leads. Until we meet again, remain faithful, remain expectant, and above all, stay ready.